final destruction of much of the modern Democratic Party. If you look at the latest polls on immigration, they are Obama's weakest issue. The country clearly has rallied around the idea that the border can't be under control when you have as many people coming in as there are. The idea that the president would unconstitutionally, and I think clearly illegally, by stroke of the pen, change the world, I think most Americans will find very unacceptable.
All right, folks, that's the opinion of Newt Gingrich. Now to the opinion of the former Attorney General of the United States, Alberto Gonzales, and also current dean at Belmont University College of Law. Hello, sir.
How are you doing?
Welcome back. Great to talk to you again. Thanks for being with us. Do you agree with the analysis, at least the part where Newt Gingrich says it's unconstitutional and probably illegal for the president to do what we all believe he's going to do?
Well, you know, it's a tough one to answer without really knowing all the details of what the plan is going to include. I will remind people that when talking about the suspension of deportation of a large group of individuals in 2011, I believe, before a Hispanic crowd at Univision, the president said that he did not have that authority, and of course, at the time, he was advised by the current Attorney General, General Holder. The reason it's hard for me to answer your question is because on the one hand, you know, you do have Article 2, Section 3 of the Constitution, which requires the president to take care that the laws are faithfully executed. And from my perspective, I don't think he can choose to enforce a law he doesn't like simply as a matter of policy. I think that he has no authority to suspend or amend or repeal a law. But on the other hand, you do have the courts and the Congress acknowledge that the president does have discretion in the way that the laws are enforced based upon budget constraints and policy priorities that are not otherwise inconsistent with congressional intent. And so there's a lot of discretion there for the president. And if you know a member of Congress wants to go to court to challenge the president, he's going to have to show that the president has abused his discretion. And they'll have to show that they have standing to assert their claim in court, and those are not insubstantial hurdles. So, you know, it's you're going to find scholars on both sides of this issue. But from my perspective, I just think moving forward with executive action is just not a good idea. And obviously, the legal question is an important one, but even assuming that in fact he has the authority, I don't think it's the right thing to do at this juncture. I think it's a temporary solution to a very serious problem. I think it makes it more difficult to get comprehensive immigration reform in the future going forward. And from my perspective, and I'm sorry it's such a long-winded answer, but I think it's important.
No, go ahead, sir.
I think it's important people understand that there's a lot more at stake here than just immigration reform. And this is really a dispute between the elected branches of government about who gets to decide what immigration policy is. And I think every member of Congress should be very interested in that discussion, particularly people that care about separation of powers. So for those reasons, I just think the president should reengage with the Congress, with the American people, and explain why this should be done through the Congress. And I think he ought to give the Congress a reasonable period of time to get something done. After all, we are going to have new leadership in the Senate, and we'll have new members in both houses. And I just think that that's the best way to solve a very serious issue that affects both our economy and our national security.
And you know that Jonathan Turley has agreed to be the chief counsel for the lawsuit against the president on behalf of the House. So if they added this to their lawsuit, how does this differ from him delaying the implementation of Obamacare, which is what Boehner said he would sue on? I don't know if they'll add this or not, and push back dates and change this and change that. Is it basically the same thing, or is it different kinds of legalities we're talking about?
I think, look, we're talking about the exercise of discretion, which is subjective, and so I think every case has to be looked at by its own facts under its own circumstances. And you know, I know some Democrats have been pointing to the fact that, well, Reagan did it and Bush did it in terms of the immigration area. But again, I would just urge caution, because we are talking about a very subjective thing here. What is the discretion of the president in the enforcement of law? For example, just as an example, Department of Homeland
We only
Security.
have 30 seconds,
Okay, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Mr. Attorney General. So go ahead. No, go ahead. Finish up. But I just want to tell you.
Well, just that the Department of Homeland Security has, their job is to deport people that are here unlawfully. But if Congress only appropriates enough money for them to deport 400,000 people every year, they'll decide which of those people are going to be deported. I, for one, hope that they focus on the most dangerous people. So that's the kind of discretion that would be allowed.
Right. All right. Thank you for. You're never a run-on sentence, sir. Never at all. And I thank you for your time, and we'll speak to you again soon.
You bet. Thank you.
Thank you. Alberto Gonzales, ladies and gentlemen. Alan Dershowitz is next on the horror in Jerusalem.